Boss Jock has entered the building. You are listening to the Sportcat Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You're the one, the only Sportcat. I need to learn how to push buttons better or get a producer because none of this seems to flow. It seems like there's a pause in it. I don't know. Well, hello to everybody in Australia and all of my fans on YouTube. I've certainly missed you. Yesterday we did something a little different that we weren't supposed to do, I don't think. We went on the air a little bit early on Dare Talk Radio and Radio X. Our designated time is from 2 till 4. That's 2 a.m. your time, 2 p.m. my time, and we went live at 1. So my apologies to Radio X and Dare Talk Radio. Thank you for putting up with me. I told you I was rusty at this. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. So, well, it's day 2 back from the flu. I'm actually feeling better today. Yesterday, just after I was done with the show, I just had to go just sit and take a break. Like, this is such hard work. But, yeah, I was spent. My energy was gone. I don't know. Is this maybe I got long COVID? Oh, I can't say that word on the air. All right. Well, speaking of being on places where they don't like certain words, I encourage everybody on Dare Talk Radio, Radio X, to come over and find me on YouTube. We're trying really hard here to get monetized and pay for some new toys and new things, and we can't do it unless we get monetized or we get support from the audience. So I need you to come over, hit the thumbs up button, obviously subscribe, drop some comments down in the chat. We have a great chat. My favorite fan of all time, Denise, my moderator, is here to keep you and me in line. So come on over, say hello. I think Chris was in there somewhere. I'm not sure. I didn't see him, but he's probably hiding. And hopefully KG will appear. Brenda will be back with us again tomorrow. I think a lot of you enjoyed having Brenda here as a sidekick for my shenanigans. Even though we didn't see her, if you're on YouTube, you heard her. She said that she will be showered and presentable for tomorrow's show. I'm going to hold her to that. So, but yeah, so that's the large and small of it. We got off to a rough start, but we were rusty. We're good to go now. So, and Chris is here. So, hello, Chris. Welcome. And I did get your video earlier. Yeah. It's hard sometimes to say you're wrong, isn't it? Well, all right. Well, let's kick this show off like we always do. Let's say good afternoon. If you're on the East Coast, it's 2:05 in the U.S. Well, if you're in Denver, it's your lunchtime. It's noon. Chicago is 1:05. Jumping down to our friends in Anchorage, it's 10:05, and our prayers and thoughts are with you between the earthquakes, now the heavy rains, typhoon, and mudslides. Oh, you've got your hands full there. So we're thinking about you. Perth, good morning. It is actually 2:05 a.m. in Perth. Sydney, 5:05 a.m. Adelaide, 4:35 in the morning. Lord Howe, 5:05. And well, if you're in Dublin, which we do have some fans there, it's 7:05 p.m. I feel like a time traveler with all this. And if for some reason, and I do actually need to address this, I was made aware that I have listeners in Russia and Ukraine. I'm not sure that they're going to gain any useful information from me, but hey, I welcome you. Please drop by, say hello. So. And Chris, I added this one just for you. In Vatican City, it is 8:06 p.m. And our new ally in Qatar, or is it Qatar? Qatar, I think. Yeah, I got an opinion on that. It's 9:06 in the evening. So, and hey, if you're ready for Santa, well, it's 6:06 p.m. where Santa lives. Let me throw up my other clock here. I usually have it up there. There we go. All right, so there's our time check. Let's see what else we got. Well, we start off with, let's just start off with a little this day in history. Yes, Chris, that is correct. I don't claim to be right 60% of the time, but I will at least fess up to it if I'm not. So yeah. Sometimes it's hard to say you're sorry. Chris is referring to, there's been videos circulating where people with media agency, we're talking mainstream and legacy, are having to eat a little crow because it was this free Palestine, down with Trump. Well, apparently you can't have both or admit you were wrong. So, and we will touch on that because I don't know that peace deal is going to last. We're 24 hours in and they're already tit for tatting. So, all right, well, today is October 14th. Today in history, the Norman invasion of England. In 1066, the Battle of Hastings, William, Duke of Normandy, and his Norman army defeat the English forces of Harold II, who is killed in the battle. 1322, Robert the Bruce of Scotland defeats King Edward II, England, of the Battle of Bylund, forcing Edward to accept Scotland's independence. 1774, the First Continental Congress makes a declaration of colonial rights in Philadelphia and promptly shut down so that they could fund things. No, I'm kidding. I made that part up. Yeah, Chris, that was ugly. Yes, they did deserve it. If we had not fumbled on that last possession or drive for them, we would have probably won. But it was a wet ball, rookie quarterback, and well, the season's not over. We'll see again. 1884, and I'm talking about his Chicago Bears played my Washington Commanders last night. I actually woke the missus up. Mrs. Sportcat got mad at me because when the interception, it was the fumble Ruski on about the 25-yard line of Chicago. We were doing a great drive. It was raining, and there was a mishandle of the handoff, and a fumble ensued, and Chicago recovered, and I let out some expletive yell and woke her up. She's like, "What are you doing?" It's football. Yeah. So it was a long night. So let's see. Where do we leave off here? We talked about the First Continental Congress. 1884, George Eastman patents paper strip photographic film. You think they could imagine where we are today with the technology? 1933, Nazi Germany announces its withdrawal from the League of Nations. 1982, President Ronald Reagan proclaims a war on drugs, which is still ongoing. Many people forget that. 1930, George Gershwin and Ira Gershwin's musical Girl Crazy, starring Ginger Rogers and featuring the debut of Ethel Merman, opens at the Alvin Theater in New York City and runs for 272 performances. 2007, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, featuring Kim, Khloe, Kourtney, premiere on the E! Cable network. And it's 2025, and I've still yet to watch one. Today in sports, 1991, the New York Rangers right wing Mike Gartner becomes the first NHL player to score his 500th goal, 500th assist, and 1,000th point all in the same season. Wow. And let's see. Famous birthdays. James II, William Penn, George Greenfull, President Eisenhower, Hannah Arendt, I'm not sure who that is, Ralph Lauren, and let's see, who else we got here? Let's skip forward here just a little bit, because we don't know those people born in the 17 and 1800s. Well, we might, but chances are probably not. Wow, there's a lot of birthdays today. A lot of birthdays. Wow. And Hannah Arendt was a German-American political theorist and historian. I wondered who she was. So, and let's see. Man, there's a lot of birthdays today. Today was a popular day to be born, apparently. All the way back to the early times. Early times, is that right? I don't know. 1927, of course, he perished. In 2017, British actor, the Saint James Bond, Roger Moore. And let's see. We'll just keep going a little bit here because I don't know all these people. Maybe I'm bad on my history. Ralph Lauren, he's 86. He's a fashion designer. Cliff Richard, well, you might know him from the English rock vocalist, born in Lucknow, British India. Okay. And let's see. Billy Harrison, a Irish rock guitarist. And I'm going here. Alan Oliver, an American baseball outfielder. I don't know a lot of these people. But man, there's a lot of people born on today. Getting to the 50s, and I still don't know a lot of these people. Maybe I'm poor on my history or something. Good Lord. There's a lot of people. Maybe I should have just skipped this segment since I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I swear I don't know half of these people. 1967, Stephen A. Smith, an American sports broadcaster and journalist for ESPN and New York City Daily News. He is born in the Bronx in New York. I think he's also on News Nation, Newsmax, one of the newses. I didn't like him at first, but I've since grown to like him. We have a mutual hating of the Dallas Cowboys, and so I can get along with that. 1972, J.J. Smith, American NFL running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we'll just skip that one. Natalie Maines, a country musician from the Dixie Chicks, born in 1974 in Lubbock, Texas. Shaggy 2 Dope, I'm not sure if I know who that is, but he's an American rapper. He was born in Detroit, Michigan. Floyd Landis, an American cyclist, was born today in Farmersville, Pennsylvania, 1975. Teresa Shazani, I don't know, British singer, All Saints, was born in London. And Chang Chin, a Taiwanese actor, known for Red Cliff, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, was born in Taipei, Taiwan. And let's see. I'm just going to skip forward a little bit more. Usher, he's 47 today. He's born in 1978. Was it me? That was him, wasn't it? Was it me? And let's see. We're just going to keep going. Okay, this will be a big one. It's coming up in the news today. Charlie Kirk was born in 1993. He was recently deceased. And Lillian Vu, 1997, an American golfer. She's actually a pretty good golfer. She was. So, and Rohan Blanchard, 24. She's an American actress for Riley in The Girl Meets World. Okay, there you go. Should we tempt fate and go with famous people for 100? Yeah, what the hell? It doesn't say, but I want to go by day. So, all right, well, we'll go back and see if it lets us. I don't know if it will. And famous people. Nope, it's not going to do it. So we'll go on. All right. Checking in on this other site that gives us history. Catch up here. Yeah, well, she forgave me, I think. So Chris says the sex tape of Kim and the dad being OJ's lawyers got the ball rolling for that Kardashian family. Yes, it was. And, I still don't think I've seen the sex tape. Chris says, I can't believe that name was added to the list. The guy was a criminal. Yeah, I just kind of skipped right over it. But he's a saint, isn't he? And, well, I don't know. All right, we'll leave that alone. 1892, the first Sherlock Holmes book is published. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is published and written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The book was the first collection of Doyle's earliest short stories that followed the adventures of a brilliant detective named Sherlock Holmes and his assistant, Dr. John Watson. 12 stories published in the book first appeared in the Strand magazine. Over the previous 2 years afterwards, he wrote a total of 4 novels, 56 short stories, and has since sold more than 60 million copies. And hasn't there been at least a movie and maybe a TV series? 1912. Oh, this isn't a good day. Theodore Roosevelt survives an assassination attempt. He is shot by John Schrank in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but survives thanks to his long speech and spectacles case in his breast pocket, which slowed the bullet. I don't remember that. 1944, the desert fox Erwin Rommel dies by suicide. He took a cyanide capsule near Ulm, Germany at the age of 52. He was nicknamed the Desert Fox for his daring sneak attacks in North Africa during WW2. He began to lose faith in the German cause and had implicitly agreed to take over if and when Adolf Hitler was overthrown, though he did not believe that Hitler should be killed. But after the July 20th assassination plot, known as Operation Valkyrie, led by Klaus von Stauffenberg, failed to cure the Fuhrer as planned, Rommel's connection to the conspirators became known. He was given a choice between taking a cyanide capsule or going on trial. 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis began. A U-2 spy plane detected construction for a Soviet nuclear base on missile silos on Cuba. Many feared that the 13-day confirmation between the United States and the Soviet Union would lead to an all-out war. The standoff ended when the USSR agreed to remove the missiles, and the U.S. promised not to invade Cuba and to secretly remove American missiles in Turkey. Isn't that also the thing that started the war in... I just said the country earlier, Russia, between Russia and Ukraine, those missiles. And my dad was in the Bay of Pigs there. He was on a Navy vessel that surrounded them in the 1960s. All right, I'll catch up on the comments. Yeah, hello, Wendell. Welcome. Wendell, I saw your latest picture there, your little icon. That's pretty good. You're getting this AI thing down pat. Trust me, it's a talent. It's an art. It is National Delivery Driver Day. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, wait a minute. Why isn't it today? Give me today. There we go. It is ADA Loveless Day. Is that Ada Loveless Day? And Be Bald and Be Free. Wendell, you can be proud to be bald and be free. We won't make fun of you here. And it is Chisinau City Day. It's day of Savistokaloba. It's the Defender of Ukraine Day, Irish Film Festival Day, Miroir Nairi Day. It's National Dessert Day. Man, I've been trying to avoid them ever since coming back from Mom's. I think I've gained 100 pounds. National Face Your Fears Day. Well, I'm learning one step at a time. National I Love You Day. I love you to all of my audience and all of my fans listening and watching. And yes, even you, Wendell. I love all of you. It is Shemai Atzert, and I'm sure I butchered that. It's a religious day. World Standards Day. Yemen Liberation Day. And let's see, what else do we have? Go away. There we go. And my computer's slow. I've got a new program running in the background we'll talk about here in a bit. National Real Sugar Day. I'm on the fence as to whether I'm going to like Mountain Dew with real sugar. That it's coming. It's coming. Our government's going to implement the laws where they can't have the bad stuff in it, which is good, but I'm on the fence. I may just switch to sweet tea. So let's see. We talked about Be Bald and Be Free. We talked about National Dessert Day. Let's see what birthdays and events they have on their site. William Penn, the founder of Pennsylvania, his birthday was today, 1644 to 1718 when he passed away. Joe Start, he was a baseball player who played a significant role in establishing rules for professional baseball. Wonder if he would be shocked that now next season they're going to be putting in AI umpires. John William Kendrick, engineer who was responsible for contemporary management rules for the railroad. Elwood Hayes, it's not the guy from Blues Brothers, automotive pioneer who built one of the first automobiles. Julia Ames, she was born in 1861, author of children's books including The Little Sister, The Cradle of the Sky. Lillian Gish was born in 1893. She was a silent film actress, best known for her role in Birth of a Nation. E. Cummings, a famous poet, was born this day in 1894. His works included I Carry Your Heart With Me. Red McKenzie, an American jazz singer who played music with a comb and tissue paper. Is that called a kazoo? Inventors of the pom-pom, Lawrence Herkimer was born this day in 1925 and founded the National Cheerleading Association. We talked about Ralph Lauren. David Rupert, he is the game show host of the Supermarket Suite. Haven't seen that one. Harry Anderson, known for his role as Judge Harry Stone on Night Court. Born in 1952, passed away in 2018. A.J. Pero, drummer of Twisted Sister, 1959, and he passed away in 2015. And Isaac Misra, famous designer and TV host, was born in 1961. Natalie Maines, a country and music singer. That's right, we talked about her, from the Dixie Chicks, 1974. And memorable events. The first religious persecution occurs when the General Court of Massachusetts Bay Colony enacts legislation against the Quakers, Religious Society of Friends. 1774, we talked about this. Representative 12 of the 13 colonies met to form the First Continental Congress to begin denouncing the British Parliament in America. Henry Blair becomes the first black person to be granted a U.S. patent for corn planter in 1834. Pitcher James Crichton ruptures bladder while hitting a home run in 1862 and sadly died a few days later. That's an interesting baseball fact or trivia. The Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes sign a peace treaty which results in both tribes being chased out of Colorado. Talked about George Eastman. 1908, Chicago Cubs win the second World Series against the Detroit Tigers. Well, maybe that's not the second. Maybe they were, I don't know what the 2 stands for. I'm guessing it was 2 or second. I don't know. The first automated telephones were installed in New York City in 1922. Tom McCann, who remembers that shoe store? 1922, they opened their first store in New York City. 1947, Chuck Yeager becomes the first person to exceed the speed of sound at 700 miles per hour. I've been right there. We, in a Learjet, you cannot go that fast. But I've been very close. So close the plane was shuddering. In 1953, President Eisenhower makes a promise to terminate any federal worker for taking the Fifth Amendment when questioned whether they are affiliated with the Communist Party. Oh, Lord, we're going to see a repeat of that. In 1958, the District of Columbia Bar Association accepts blacks as members of the bar for the first time in the country. 1960, President Kennedy suggests creating the Peace Corps during a speech at the University of Michigan. And 1962, we talked about the Cuba incident. 1964, Dr. Martin Luther King receives the Nobel Peace Prize for his nonviolent approach in racial inequity. 1964, Bill Mills becomes the first American to win the 10,000-meter race. 1964, baseball legend Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle both hit home runs on back-to-back pitches. 1966, about 175 U.S. airplanes bombed North Vietnam to officially mark our involvement in the Vietnam War. 1968, NASA televises the first broadcast of astronauts in orbit. You think they really went? 1978, Rescue from Gilligan's Island premiered on TV. In 2000, a New York auction house sells a copy of Shakespeare's first folio for $9.8 million. 2020, scientists create the first room temperature superconductor. That's right. Denise, my mod, is keeping me in check. Please say hi and hit the like button, share, and subscribe. So yes. And Chris says, so if John Dixon got to that state first, it would likely be called Dixvania. Dixylvania. It could be. Chris says, I hated going to Tom McCann. The smell was always awful. A horrible combination of leather, cardboard, and feet. I'm trying to think, what was there was KG might be able to answer this. Was on Richmond how Kenny shoes? Maybe it seemed like they had a beagle as their logo or a dog as their logo or something. Yeah, I remember Tom McCann and I think it was Kenny shoes. So hello, Chris. Hello, or KG. I'm sorry. Hello. Was it Kenny shoes? I can't remember. Let's see. October 14th, we talked about National Dessert and Real Sugar Day. Be bald and be free. We covered all that. So I think we got that part covered. We'll check to make sure. No, not that button. This button, silly. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I think we covered all that. We did all that. All right. Well, let's look at today's moon phase. Well, it's approximately 40% illuminated. And I was reading an article. It may be coming up here, but for like the first time in like 5 years or something, it's been a period of time, we're going to have 2 more super moons. The next one is the Beaver moon. It's the waning crescent phase. The phase is best viewed just before sunrise in the western sky. This phase, the moon's illumination is growing smaller each day until the new moon. During this part of the cycle, the moon is getting closer to the sun as viewed from Earth, and the night side of the moon is facing the Earth. Only a small edge of the moon illuminated. It can also be a great time to see the features of the moon's surface. If you got a little telescope, check it out. Let's see. Today's moon sign is Leo. All right, whatever that means. And let's see. Average moon rise time 3 a.m. and average moon time set is 3 p.m. We'll take a look here in a minute and see where the moon is. Well, we're a little bit out of order here, but we'll go with it. So, even though they're on shutdown, there was a SpaceX Falcon. I think that is privately owned. It was successfully launched today. And of course, okay, so they're saying this site will remain updated. All right. So the sun, well, it's been pitching a fit with all the comets approaching, and it's been having several sunstorms and throwing some massive doses of radiation at us. The aurora, though, has not gotten anywhere really down into the lower 48. So I really need to learn what all these graphs and stuff are, but basically it's long and short term radiation coming at the U.S. or coming at the world. So I'm not a geophysicist. I'm barely a podcaster or content creator. I'm gonna get that correct. So Chris says, I looked up Kitty shoes. They are no longer a thing under that name, but they are the parent company of Foot Locker. And Denise says Buster Brown. Maybe. KG, help me out. It was on Richmond Highway in Hybla Valley on the right, going through Hybla Valley, I think near Arlington Boulevard. I can remember all those details, but can't remember the name. Jesus Christ. Oh, all right. Well, so Yep. Okay. He says it's Kenny's shoes ran from 1894 to 1998, and he had to Google it. Yeah. How do I remember where they were, but I couldn't verify their name? How is that? And I did not know that, Chris. They're the parent company of Foot Locker. See, you learn stuff on this show. That's what it does. So, the sun's position right now over the Earth, it is to the left of South America, west, out over the Pacific. And the moon, well, right now it is out over, well, it's also over the Pacific, over the Northwest Pacific. And let's see. No, I don't want to do that one. We'll go to the other one. Let's see. This is the part of the earth that is not lit right now, and we can see our friends down under in Australia are in the other side of the hemisphere. And wow, I thought I saw this. 6 current views of Earth. Okay. All right. Well, I'm guessing that there's the top, there's the bottom, there's the sun, there's the sunlit, and there's the unlit. Okay, pretty cool. Earth and moon viewed from the sun. Okay. I'm just playing with this site. If you're interested in this site, it's called Sky Marvels. Go check it out. It's actually a pretty decent site, and it's got a lot of information. I just haven't figured all of it out yet. So I'm still learning some of these sites because I'm trying to get us more and more away from the hard hitting, if that's even a thing, news. So Chris says, like and subscribe to take advantage of all this Kenny shoe knowledge. You aren't getting this anywhere else. That's right. That's right. You won't get this anywhere else. We'll look at the go to the live sky, and we look at the galaxy from space and our little third rock from the sun here. We still can't see Comet 3I Atlas. It's behind the sun, but when it pops out, the aliens will probably board us or mount us, depending on which way you look at it. So this is a really cool site. Go check it out. It's the live sky. You can spin around, zoom out, and look at pretty much real time the solar system. So right now there are, not counting 3I Atlas, there are 4 comets in our system, in our solar system. So yeah. But 3I Atlas, it disappeared. I'm telling you, it's a government conspiracy, but what do I know? Let's see. We talked about this earlier. The moon is out over the Pacific, closer to Asia. The sun is just west of South America. And let's see. Best days for the farmers. Let's see. Make the most of your moments with the best day calendars from Farmer's Almanac. All right. So October 14th, it's a great day to ask for a loan. No. Maybe it's a good day to ask, but the economy right now, no. It's a good day to cut your hair to slow growth, dig post holes, get married, host a party, kill plant pests, mow too slow. They're talking about the grass. Paint. I hate painting. Perform demolition. I'm good at that shit right there. Pick apples and pears. Quit smoking. Start a diet to lose weight. And wash your wooden floors. There you go. Those are your things today, according to the Old Farmer's Almanac, that it's good to do today. Let's see. Is there anything else on this? I was scanning through because I missed some things the other day. Like I said, I was rusty yesterday. Just all messed up. They're already talking about the Thanksgiving travel. If you're interested, we'll take a quick gander at it. It looks like in the south, it's going to be sunny. It's going to be rainy in the mid-Atlantic, in the northeastern region. If you're going to the far northeast for Thanksgiving, you could anticipate up in Vermont, New Hampshire. Pay attention, KG. Vermont, New Hampshire. Could be snowing. It'll be cool and sunny if you come down short northeast, Boston, Pennsylvania, and get down into the Appalachia, and that's where it starts to get warmer. And then the deep south and the Atlantic seaboard is going to be warm and sunny. So out on the West Coast, it's going to be rainy, of course, in Seattle and Oregon, snowing in the mountains around the Four Corners region, all the way back over to the Midwest, and rain down in Texas and in Arizona, Nevada. All right. So that's their prognostication. We'll see if that holds. I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready for any travels to cold areas yet. 68 days until winter begins. It's the 287th day of 2025. Question of the day. I want to make sure my Christmas cactuses produces flowers in December. What should I do? I'm going to give you this advice because I have no clue. Buds will form on Christmas cactuses when it is kept at constant temperatures between 50 and 60s, or when you give it 13 hours of complete darkness each night. If you can achieve these conditions, the December blooms will be well worth the effect. See, you don't get that on any other show right there. You got that information right here. Upcoming holiday, Noah Webster's birthday, and St. Luke's Little Summer, and Alaska Day is coming up. Word of the day, it's more than one word, moon on the equator, or maybe that is the word. The moon is on the celestial equator. Denise says, I'm painting as we speak. Well, Denise, are you painting a picture or are you painting a room? What are you painting? Let's see. Chris says you can't give a damn at the start and give a comment such a complex name, and then when it starts doing weird shit, pretend it never happened when you named it. You got the ball rolling. Yeah, I've been watching several shows on YouTube, and they go from it's just a very large rock to it's a hollow something to the aliens are coming. We won't know until they land. They really won't know. Today is the best day to dry your fruit, vegetables, or meat. It's always good to dry your meat. Prune to discourage growth. And we talked about the weather forecast. And the full beaver moon is coming in November 5th. Please, God, let me remember to have some good jokes lined up for November 5th for full beaver day. Oh, Lord. All right. Indian pudding, baked corn custard. Now, I don't know if farmers made that, but I didn't eat that growing up. All right, we'll look at Andrew's McMeal's Almanac. And we just said it was the 287th day of 2025, the 23rd day of autumn. And we talked about Theodore Roosevelt. He was shot. 1962, a U.S. reconnaissance plane caught the missiles in Cuba. 1964, MLK was awarded the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize for Civil Rights. 1994, Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat and Israel Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and Israel Foreign Minister Shimon Peres were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, that went out of hell, didn't it? And I think we got most of those for the birthday. Today's fact, the bullet from the 1912 assassination attempt on Theodore Roosevelt was deemed too dangerous to remove. It remained lodged in his chest muscle for the rest of his life. I did not know that. And KG and Chris, you'll be glad to remember, and I'll give it to you twice. 1908, Chicago Cubs defeated the Detroit Tigers 2-0 to win their second consecutive World Series. Today's quote, I pride myself on being someone who stomps, who does not tippy-toe. Stephen A. Smith. He certainly does stomp. Today's number, it's 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series. The Colorado Rockies, the Milwaukee Brewers, the San Diego Padres, Seattle Mariners, and the Tampa Bay Rays. Interesting story. The season that they went to the Tampa Bay Rays went to the World Series, I went down there to catch Braves games. I think we actually caught 2 series. I think we caught the Braves and the Orioles. We came at the end of one, the beginning of the other. I perfectly loved the stadium. I mean, they had things for the kids to do. You could go down and pet the Rays. They had things for adults to do. And I went up to the cigar lounge, had a cigar, watched the game while I was sipping some bourbon, while the kids were watching the game, playing with Rays, and Mrs. Sportcat was running around taking care of them. I was, feet up in the lounge, and I smoked a very nice local Tampa cigar. And I bought another one. And actually, it was the last one in the box. So I got the box. So I have a Tampa Bay Rays cigar box. And I said, all right, I'm going to smoke this when you get to the World Series. Yeah, it's still in the humidor. I don't smoke anymore. I will make an exception if they make it to the World Series. I will have that cigar. So, but maybe I jinxed them. Maybe don't tell them, they'll come at me. But yep, so it's still there waiting to be smoked. All right, where are we going next? We'll do a little news here. Like I said, I'm trying really hard to not be into this serious news stuff because there's a lot of shows out there that give you that, and there's a lot of shows that are for the past 48 hours beating the drum that something big is coming, and they're all alluding to No King's Day on Saturday, and that pretty much the U.S. is going to shut down. So, yeah. Chris says full beaver moon and dry meat seem to be contradictory. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Denise is painting rooms. God love you, Denise. Yes, it is true. I hate painting. All right, so this comes to us from Just the News. Arson suspect in Pennsylvania governor's mansion pleads guilty. So he was the guy who went in and started the fire. Cody Balmer, he's 38, of Harrisburg. He appeared in person, which started this morning around 8:30 a.m. in Dauphin County in Harrisburg, and he pled guilty to all counts, including attempted first-degree murder and dozens of arson-related charges and terrorism. He called 911 on the night of the arson, admitted to setting the fire to Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence with several Molotov cocktails around 2 a.m. Sunday, April 13th. Shapiro and his family had been asleep inside of the residence. So he said he started the fire and he wanted them to know that he did it. All right, well, good for him. And he's going to go to jail. It doesn't say when he's sentenced, but he did plead guilty. So hopefully they'll let him off. Some of you may care and may know this story because, well, you're fans of the show. You're fans of this show. On weekends, my favorite show is On Patrol, which is a show where the police officers have live crews right along with them, and they film incidents. And sometimes people actually get a peek behind the curtain to see the bad things that do happen to us. And a Knox County in Tennessee deputy was, I'm trying to describe the setup if you hadn't seen it. He was in the backyard of one family that had another neighbor that had been threatening them, had shot rounds off at their house, had thrown rocks, all kinds of things. So him and his two partners were under the cover of darkness and brush, and they were trying to get the suspect, to basically surrender. They knew he had a 357. They knew he was drunk. They knew he was on drugs. And so they were trying to get him nonviolently. Well, the bad guy, the perp, decided that he was going to throw a brick, and he threw it blindly. It struck the deputy, Swanger, in the head. It didn't. He was a real man's man, and plus the adrenaline was striking. It rung his bell and knocked him out for just a brief second, but he was managed to be pulled to safety without any shots fired. Of course, I had the follow-up. He was rushed by ambulance to the hospital. I was in Tennessee at the time, so I talked to some of the EMS crews. He was in critical condition when he was transported, and they had to do a rapid sequence intubation, which means basically they give you drugs to knock your breathing out, and they have to jam a tube in your throat. Sometimes when that happens, you can damage the vocal cords or you can damage the windpipe. Well, he went into a seizure during this process because of the head injury, and he has damaged his throat because of either the rapid sequence intubation, the forceful rapid sequence intubation, or because of the amount of time he spent on the ventilator, the swelling increased. He has now got a condition where his airway is spasming and is shutting down, and is approximately 6 millimeter in diameter, which is about the size of a straw, and is not enough to basically breathe on. He needs a surgery that only a specialized hospital can do. And we're talking, this occurred in June, I think. But anyhow, he's going to have to be flown to a specialty hospital to have a complete revision of his airway, another critical surgery. So the bad guy is gotten out on bond, and he has not pled to any of the things yet. So we're still waiting on that one. But our prayers are with Deputy Swanger and his family. It's going to be a long recovery. Luckily, he was in really good shape. So hopefully he will do well, but he's going to have a long road ahead of him. So the family is saying, if you want to help out, you can go to the Tennessee Blue Line and help out by making donations, buying a t-shirt. I think they might have a coin up, something to help them. And that's not saying Knox County Sheriff's Department isn't paying any of the bills, but a lot happens when you're on workers' comp. You only get like 60% of your salary. Most of us in public safety work more than one job. So the bills are adding up and they could use some help. If anybody out there wants to go, look them up. You can find it or just hit me up. We'll stay with the Tennessee theme for a minute. Governor Bill Lee says the federal crackdown in Memphis has, as of this morning, nearly 900 arrests in 2 weeks. So not only that, they've taken some really bad people off of the street. They have got 175 illegal guns. And the most important part that is hardly ever reported, 44 missing children have been recovered. That is great news. So officials did say, though, that the vast majority of those missing children were runaways. So they were still probably in bad situations. So very good that they got that back. We got the guns off the street, and we got 44 kids back and a bunch of bad guys in jail. So good news. So, and I'll just hit this one up. Currently, as we went live, it was breaking news. The FBI in Chicago is responding emergency to assist DHS and Homeland. They are being surrounded by people as they're trying to do their job. But currently, Operation Summer Heat has got 166 arrests, 34 firearm seizures, in a gun-free zone, 92 drug seizures, and once again, 11 children have been found and relocated. But yet they want them out of the community. Bunch of dumbasses. So sorry. You should want your law enforcement to be there. And let's see if we got an update on that with them in Chicago, because they were under siege when we went live. Let's put in DHS. Maybe that'll work. Yeah, they have been totally surrounded. Yep, it appears that they are still surrounded at 105th Avenue, 105th and Avenue North, I guess, in Chicago. They were out doing their job, and now they're being surrounded by a large crowd and mobbed. So, yeah. Just doing their job, enforcing the law. All right, I'll leave it at that because I'm sure not everybody agrees on that. I wanted to talk about this. If I miss all the other stories, I definitely want to cover this one. I put this one on my Facebook page. I put this on the show group for Facebook, the Sportcat Daily Gazette. But I think this one is very important for people to get out there. That a dog, well, let's just start out. Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a dog bites a lithium-ion battery and starts a fire. And the battery was charged and unplugged. That's good to know, but you should not leave them unattended. Well, when the fire department got the call, they were concerned, but they did have home camera. They saw the whole event unfold. There was some smoke and fire damage, but luckily no one, including the puppy, was seriously injured. But take a look at this. Let me mute that. So you can see here, this thing exploded like a bomb. All he did was just grab it and chew on it like a toy. Luckily, it was in the center of the room. It was on a carpet that wasn't quite fire retardant, but It burned a hole in the carpet, and as you can see, it smoked up the residence. Poor puppy ran upstairs. Smoke detectors went off. They called the fire department. Fire department got there, and they took care of that. Whoa. But at any rate, I want everybody to be aware at the lithium-ion batteries, and yes, we're even approaching the Christmas season. Please do not leave them unattended while charging. Also, it's probably a good idea not to let your pets be anywhere near them either, but these things can go off like a bomb. And there's little to no warning. When I first started vaping, I had, I can't remember if it was 2 or 4 batteries explode. I started hissing while they were in the unit, and I went to throw it out the door of the garage, and I missed, and it landed on the floor in front of the garage door. And it started hissing, popped. They blew up. One went across the room, landed on the table. Managed to get that one out. Another one went across and landed, luckily, in the glass dishes. My wife wasn't so happy about that. And then I think the other 2 just kind of sat there and sizzled out. We managed to they had to burn out. There was nothing they could do. So, yeah, the lithium-ion batteries, as great as they are fire bombs. And what you're seeing here is the fire department. If you throw the battery away, fire chief sure doesn't look like he's dog friendly, does he? If you throw your batteries away into the trash and they go to compact them, that can also start a fire. And what they have to do is is my opinion, or is that cameraman? Well, anyhow, they have to basically dump the entire dump truck on the street, find them and put them out, because it's going to continue to burn. So that's a mess. So, but I wanted everybody to see that. That comes to us from Firehouse Magazine, but it's all over the place. You can go check it out and see it. So, let's see. Let me try and catch up on the chat here. Chris says, I'll try and stop being so serious. Yes. You are correct, Denise. It was very sad. Hopefully he'll get better. That dog looked like, this is Chris, that dog looked like there's no way I'm not getting in trouble for this one. Kind of hard to deny it when it's on film. Luckily, no one was harmed, including the puppy. We talked about this and yesterday. I'm not going to go over this. Other news sites can carry this. The Hamas, they went in yesterday looking for collaborators, and they did a public execution in the street. Not a lot of the mainstream media is picking up on this, but when they're screaming peace, yet they're pulling them out of their houses and shooting them, their own government shooting them. And now apparently Israel is upset because they didn't get everything they wanted on the timestamp they wanted. Now they've shut down the humanitarian aid. They've closed it off, so there's no food or water or anything getting into the people that are being shot by their own government. Yeah. Talk about this real quick. This comes to us from the AP. A lot of people are upset about this. It is the full body restraint system that they're using for deportations. Some are concerned that it's inhumane. I want to talk about this just briefly for a minute because I'm in public safety. First off, mask for spitting. Everybody's wore masks. That's not inhumane. A lot of times they will have them handcuffed, which I can't tell. It looks like this guy is, but he is in a restraint, which is basically a big plastic sack from the hip down. It has several Velcro straps that go around and snug it together. So my question is this, because I've been faced with this dilemma. In Tennessee, we had different rules for it than we did in Georgia, but you have a person that is spitting, fighting, kicking, and you have to treat them or they have to go to jail. What is the safest way to get them to that location, whether via ambulance, police car, whatever? How do you do it? If we put them on an ambulance, we tie them with basically soft restraints to the stretcher, which is pretty much the same as this, except it is a lot more difficult to do. It takes about 5 people. And of course, we have the straps on the ambulance, which, 2 across the shoulders, and then 1 across the chest, 1 in the abdomen, 1 at the hips, and 1 at the feet. So that is pretty much what this is, except for it is putting basically the whole torso in that so that they can't move or wiggle or good Lord, it's a lot of noise. I don't want to see that. But my point is, for the safety of everyone involved, please tell me another way of doing it. I'll welcome you to. But sometimes when people become so violent and out of control, whether it by their own means or they're on some type of substance, how else can you do it? It's not that it's inhumane. It's actually, I think, more humane because we're taking and keeping them from harming themselves or others. So I think they're calling it the wrap. I think that it's probably a good idea. So we've done it on the ambulance for years. It's DHS policy, but now they're saying that no. And see, what they're putting in there is a spit mask. And a spit mask is basically just a sack. Oh, and they've put this guy in a helmet because he was banging his head. So, say, I don't think this is inhumane. This is treatment. This is how you have to treat people sometimes to make them better or to calm them down. You know, it is what it is. So, the soft restraints, or this is called the safe restraint system, appears to me to be a great resource. But as we know, there's people out there who disagree. So there you go. You can form your own opinion. And well, I've told you what it feels like to be on the street as a paramedic. Chris says, no matter what kind of restraining method or weapon used would be seen as inhumane to the people. We all know who I'm talking about. Yes. This comes to us from the Smoking Gun arrest made in drive-by cheeseburgering. A former strip club employee has been arrested for a drive-by shooting outside the Florida establishment. Well, actually, it was more of a drive-by cheeseburgering. Investigators allege that Jordan Cotto, age 26, showed up Friday night at Atlantis Gentlemen's Club to speak with management, but got into a verbal argument. During the dispute, he allegedly grabbed a cheeseburger from his vehicle and threw the Big Mac, striking a male victim on the shoulder and causing him bodily harm. Wow, that's a hell of a burger. The man, however, was not seriously injured by the beef and cheese projectile. Questioned by police, he confessed to the crime and showed no remorse for the incident at the Tampa strip club. He stated he did throw a cheeseburger from his vehicle and said he would do it again. Why are we getting rid of perfectly good cheeseburgers? No weapon was seized by the police. Well, I guess that's good. He was booked into jail and was released the day afterwards. On his own recognizance, judge ordered him to have no contact with the victim. The defendant has not been prohibited from possessing cheeseburgers. Yeah, there you go. And of course, the story comes from Florida. So there you go. Let's see. I'm not going to give this a whole lot of coverage. There's two baby stories. I really was hesitant about covering them. You can look them up for yourself. A woman turned up at her ex-boyfriend's home with a fetus in a cooler saying, "Here's your kid." Apparently she'd had a miscarriage and she's in jail. And then this came to us from an alert reader, alert listener, viewer, fan. A newborn baby found dead outside a grocery store in Northeast DC, a Safeway. That's from ABC News 7. This one is kind of interesting. It's from Medical News and Life Sciences. Bird flu survives in raw milk and cheese for months. Researchers have discovered that the H5N1 bird flu can persist for up to 120 days in raw milk and cheese, challenging long-standing safety rules, raising the questions about the risk of unpasteurized dairy. So, the highly pathogenic avian bird flu, H5N1, is a subset of the influenza type A. God, I just got over that. And apparently it's been detected in poultry and in milk, and it can now last for up to 120 days in your milk and cheese. So there you go. You can go read all about that one. That's just bad. And this one is Minnesota refuses to respond to Trump's administration's demand to ban trans athletes. Now, I didn't do a lot of homework on this one, but they're not kicking the trans athletes out. But isn't that state also a Shira law state? So why would they want to be there to start with? Just asking for a friend. Defense news, first shots fired in the future fights will be fired in cyberspace, according to military experts. Let me catch up on the chat here. Chris says, beef and cheese projectiles being added to my list of possible new usernames for my account here on YouTube. I like it. According to military experts, the first shots that will be fired in the next war will be cyberspace. Maybe this is what these other prepper channels. I'm the original prepper channel on YouTube. Yeah, fuck off. Maybe that's what they're talking about. That when they say it's coming. Whatever it is, it's coming. But they'll have 2 shows scheduled tomorrow, so it's coming. So yeah, there you go. That the next war will be started by cyber attacks, which we all know, we talk about on our show regularly. Trump claims Time magazine disappeared his hair in a cover photo. Okay. But he does say they wrote a relatively good story about him. But the picture was the worst because his hair disappeared. It looked like something was floating on top of his head. It's just the angle. So, but he's probably sensitive about it, and it's okay. Speaker Johnson says the Democrats won't end the shutdown until after no King's protest, which if you have been following here, which you should be hitting that like, subscribe button, that thumbs up button as well. We know is going to be Saturday. Maybe that's what's coming. So the showdown is going to go on at least for this week, even though they're scheduled to have a vote at about 5:30 today. And thunderstorms have been causing all kinds of problems, but there was a California pup that, he was reunited in Illinois. He got scared during the thunderstorm on Wednesday, and, he ran away. And the border collie, he jumped in a car and was whisked away, but was later released to police in, where is this? He was traveling he went from Illinois to Oregon to Nevada and ended up in California 90 days later when the police department retrieved the puppy at Itzka Police Department. So, no, that's in Illinois. So, hold on. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe I just don't know what this whole damn story is to start with. Hold on. Maybe the dog was in California. Yeah, he was in California. No, he was in Illinois. I don't know. Anyhow, the dog ran away during the thunderstorm in, his home in Bieber, California in early July. Good Lord, this story has confused me as I'm reading it. Opie ended up hopping in a car, hitching some rides, made it all the way to California before a police department found him wandering as a stray, I guess. And they scanned him, and they got in touch with the family, and they flew out there, picked him up, and drove him home. So there you go. He's back home. It's a long story for nothing. We talked about this yesterday. Semi-truck driver carrying a valid New York license. Animal no name given was what is printed on the driver's side. Yes, you heard me correctly. So, no name given. So, yesterday, if you remember, we talked about how they have taken several hundreds of drivers off the roads that are illegal. California grower has got a 2,346-pound pumpkin and has won the World Championship Award. California grower was dubbed the top gourd at the 2025 Safeway World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-In, or Weigh-Off, in Half Moon Bay, California. Santa Rosa man, whose 2,465-pound pumpkin was the runner-up in 2024 took the top spot this year. So there you go. I wonder if a pumpkin that big is edible. Chris says, let's see, hold on, let me catch up. KG says, I saw that time cover this morning. They must have done that horrible editing of his pick on purpose. Oh, they did. And Chris says, if this dog teamed up with the fire-starting dog, they would be an unstoppable duo. That's true. KG, this comes from your part of the world. Why do I keep hitting that button? And this is a strange UFO video from Southwest Virginia. And, well, I don't know. I've watched this thing like 2-3 times. I'm on the fence as to what the hell this thing is. It looks like a spinning square. Midlothian, Virginia. This was spotted October 5th, 2025. It looks like a floating square. That's the best way I can put it. I'm on the fence. I don't know that this is extraterrestrial. And if so, God, it seems like they would be very, very dizzy when they came out of that thing. And it'd have to be very tiny, unless it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it was spotted by several people, Midlothian, Virginia. And that one video, it looked to be, just like I said, it's this metal square that's turning. And this one, it looks to be more orb shaped. You can't really tell the detail on this one. But is it a balloon? Is it a UFO? Is there something out there? I don't know. I mean, that one puzzled me. So I'll leave that one up to you. If you want to follow the article, this comes to us from Outkick. You can go watch the whole thing. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sure as to if I believe that one or not, but it is definitely something in the air. What it is, I don't know. All right, this comes to us from Zero Hedge. This was rated by the public, not the FBI, not police statistics. It's the most dangerous cities in America. And number 1 is Memphis, Tennessee. Got a score of 78 by the people. And Detroit followed at number 2. Baltimore, where Andy is, number 3. Albuquerque, New Mexico, number 4. St. Louis, and I was just thinking about going there. Number 5. Oakland, 6th. New Orleans, 7th. Milwaukee, 8th. 9, Chris in Chicago. And 10, Philadelphia. 11, right here where I'm at, just barely missed the top 10. But I will say the county I worked in was the violentest county in the United States, or city. I don't know. It was the most violent county, I think. It's followed by, who we got? Houston, San Francisco, Indianapolis, Washington. I'm assuming that's DC at number 15 spot. Kansas City, Portland, Jacksonville. That's a shocker. Vegas at number 19, number 20, Minneapolis, 21, Tucson, 22, Seattle, number 23, Los Angeles, 24, Phoenix, Miami. It's a beautiful city. Number 25, New York City came in at number 27. Columbus, Ohio, 28th. Orlando, that's a shocker, number 29, and followed by Sacramento at the last rated spot. So there you go. If you live in one of those cities, take cover. It's coming. Whatever it is, it's coming. So let's see here. All right, let's go over to what we do. We're not doing too bad on time today. So we're actually we're in our designated time spot, and we're somewhat on time. As you can see here, this is the daily operations briefing from FEMA, and either because the president was out of town or maybe they're just on furlough. I don't know. There's no daily operations report for Monday nor Tuesday. The last one we have was for Sunday. We do have the president's public schedule. If you remember, he got back into town late last night. They are saying here that it was at 12:05 a.m. He got back to the White House, and they said, okay, so he apparently got in town at around 12:05, but it was actually 2:50 by the time he got to the White House. Whew. Up again at 9 a.m. for an in-pool camera time. The media had to be there. And 1 o'clock, the president met with the president of Argentina Republic. And at 1:15, he participated in a bilateral lunch with the president of Argentina. In the cabinet room, it was closed to the press. At 4, he is going to give a Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor on a civilian, to Charlie Kirk. I guess he'll present it to his wife in place of him. But over the past couple days, well, past 48 hours, that man has been halfway around the world, given multiple speeches, shook multiple hands, signed peace deals. He's been a busy man. He's been a busy beaver for the full beaver moon coming up. So let's see here. We'll hit AP and see what the breaking stories are. 7 seconds ago, Trump threatens to revoke Boston's World Cup matches if authorities don't get tougher on crime. I covered this for my Thin Line Rock Station show. Officers have been in so many dangerous situations and had to call for help. One officer was jumped by a group of people when he was just responding to a car burglary, breaking and entering into a car. There ended up with a round being discharged. No one was injured, but there were several officers injured in the melee because of the teenagers, and they were all let go. And then a few days later, there was I forget what they call it, but it's when like they surge you with the motorcycles and the ATVs and the cars, like a takeover of the roads. There was a police officer that got in the middle of that, and they shot fireworks into his police cruiser and set it on fire. And he was trying to get all this stuff and get out, and they were throwing things at him. They were jumping on the cruiser, busting windows. And there was only one guy arrested, and he was released. And there's been multiple other attacks on Boston Police Department. It is so bad that the city council voted on, I think, Monday or Friday. It was either Friday or Monday that they were going to give a proclamation that they stand behind police, fire, EMS, first responders, that they will not tolerate this violence. They do not support the mayor because she's allowing it to continue. And of course, the police union has given a vote of no confidence in the mayor and the police chief. It's a mess. I didn't realize Boston was in that bad a shape. But apparently 7 seconds ago, President Trump is threatening to revoke the World Cup matches. 7 minutes ago, police protecting U.S. Capitol Congress, they missed their first paycheck. 8 minutes ago, Trump threatens to pull aid to Argentina based on the election results. Treasury Secretary meets with Ukraine Prime Minister. We shouldn't be giving any money to those people. We're not getting all of our money dispersed. Trump says he isn't considering imposing tariffs on Spain 20 minutes ago. 40 minutes ago, he tells Hamas to disarm and return the dead hostages. Didn't we just have a peace thing signed? Millie, I don't know who that is, Miley, gives Trump a gold frame letter nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay. Trump explains why the U.S. is helping Argentina. And, okay, I'm guessing that he is the president that he was meeting with. So Trump says, this is just in at 14:04, 2:04 Eastern Daylight Time. Trump says he has struck another boat that he accuses of carrying drugs in waters off of Venezuela, killing 6. Stop bringing him here. You won't get shot. Seems pretty simple to me. You won't get shot, not shot. You won't get bombed. So Rose Garden this afternoon, the Medal of Freedom will be presented to the Kirk family. And 12 o'clock, this was breaking news. I didn't really see any need to cover it, but some airports are declining to show Secretary Noem's video messages about the government shutdowns. They're saying it's too political. Let's see. I'll just scan through here. Let's see. What time did he get into the Oval Office? Yeah, well, I must have got in there right at 9 because that was when he was complaining about Time magazine. So there you go. And so, yep, he must have got there because they updated his schedule at 8:45. You can go find that at the AP. They're pretty good about keeping up with it. All right, let's look at the National Weather Service daily briefing here. Since we didn't get one for FEMA, let's just make up our own. Well, at least we'll tell you what they said. For the National Weather Service, this is the most recent one. And they're saying that I'm sorry to tell you, but the West Coast, you're going to get rain, lots of rain. And the higher elevations going back east from Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, maybe even part of North Dakota, in the higher elevations, you could get some snow. Now, that cold air, as it is pushing down, is going to cause a problem in Arizona, New Mexico, and North Texas. So be aware that there is some potential for some severe storms. Much of the Midwest is going to have some spotty showers. California, you're going to get drenched. Down in the Gulf of America, the Texas Panhandle can expect some snow. That nor'easter, the two of them, they're still sitting there bobbing up and down off of the East Coast from Delmarva all the way up to Maine, wreaking havoc, causing coastal flooding and storms. Now, the people in California need to be paying particularly close. So let's just limit it to the West Coast because these storms are so rare for you all. There's potential for tornadic activity as well as severe flooding, flash flooding, lightning. So please be weather aware if you're on the West Coast. All right. And for tomorrow, well, it's going to dry up in California, but that cold front is still trying to push down, causing the higher elevations from Montana to Colorado, back over to Nevada. Some snow, spotty showers across much of the Midwest or the northern Midwest over to Great Lakes. And finally, it's going to be pushing off on the East Coast. And hopefully by the time tomorrow afternoon rolls in, it'll be up by Nova Scotia. Day 3, Thursday, well, that cold front's still trying really hard to push down. Remind me, we're going to have to mention this. That cold front is going to cause some severe storms to come all the way down into almost the deep south over the next couple days. So be weather aware. Window over where you are in Alabama, you could see some severe storms from the cold front pushing down. So be weather aware. Well, we'll cover the dangerous storms here in a minute. Let's look at, they're saying that there is only a slight chance for tornadoes today. And as we talked about, since it's going to be that heavy storm and raining, Southern California, you've got a pretty good chance for tornadic activity today. So pay attention. And in the Four Corners states, well, you have a pretty decent chance for some storms as well with your high winds. But California, please take that serious. That could be some bad weather. This is pretty much just what we talked about, a little more updated, just showing how this low pressure with the front coming down from Canada with the cold weather hitting off of the Pacific coast, that typhoon, is that a typhoon? Whatever it is out there, the coastal storm, we'll call it a coastal storm, is causing all that heavy rain, severe weather in Southern California now near the Baja, all the way up through LA is possible. New Mexico, you also, like we talked about, some chances for some severe storms. I think Arizona earlier today had another tornado watch when we were coming on. The anticipated precipitation, well, if we look at this zoomed in, we see most of it is going to be focused on the West Coast down around Southern California, but it's really going to almost make it all the way up to Northern California. The heaviest rain is going to be on the coastline and back down to the south. Now, up in the Dakotas and Montana, you're going to get a good soaking up there. Like I said, some of that, the higher elevations could be mixed. Look at worldwide where the problematic parts of rain are. And like we talked about here in California, it's coming down basically from Sacramento to San Diego. High chances of rain back up into Bismarck, Fargo, down into Pierre, down into Omaha. Some pretty good chances of rain there. The East Coast, it's still offshore, and it's right now more towards Boston. Well, it's between Providence and Boston, but it's still causing the coastal flooding with the winds. Drop down and check on our friends in Australia because they've been kind enough to listen to us talk about our weather. And we see that in, Georgetown, from Georgetown to Houston is where most of the rain is anticipated today, sometimes heavy. And of course, off of the coastline on the northwest, or actually, that'd be This will be northwest. Darwin back into Catherine. Could see some potential for some rain and a little bit just in the southern territory. So Alice Springs, maybe some slight showers here and there. Let's look at your weather a little more closely here. So in Sydney, well, let's refresh this to make sure I'm giving you most accurate. All right. So in Sydney right now, 15 Celsius. That's your low. It's going to be sunny with a high of 26. Melbourne, well, you're at 10, just above your low. It's going to be 24 today, sunny skies. Brisbane, well, possible showers, as we talked about. Right now, you're at 20, but you can anticipate getting to 27. Perth, you're at 15, partly cloudy skies, and it's going to warm up to sunny 23. Adelaide, it's 8, and that is your low for the day, luckily, but it's only going to make it to 28 today with sunny skies. Hobart, well, it's right now 12.5, and you're going to have some late afternoon showers with a high of 18 Celsius. Canberra, well, you are at your low right now at 2.8. You can anticipate getting up to 26 today with sunny skies. Darwin, well, you're right now at 24. That's your low. You're only going to make it to 35 today with some possible showers during the day. All right, so that comes to you from the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. So I'm reading it just from them. So I'm not a prognosticator. I'm just a screen reader. We go to Weather Warn, and we see what we have here. We look and see all the small crafted gale warning advisories are for both coasts and usually down in the Gulf and the Great Lakes. Let's see if we have anything serious. Well, there we have a test message from Montgomery County, Maryland. California, there is your warning for winter storm in Sierra Nevadas on the west slope. Colorado, you have a chance in the Rio Grande with severe flooding. You have a flood warning. And I'm pretty sure, yep, this is off the coast of San Diego. A special marine warning for that severe weather down there. Be weather aware. Flood warning in Arizona. Yeah, Arizona is, man, it's rained in places it hadn't rained in a long time. So they have all kinds of problems with flooding right now. And Inyo County, a winter storm warning, California, and a severe thunderstorm watch. That's going to be for Southern California from LA down to Oceanside off the coastline. So there's some severe weather there. Be weather aware, severe thunderstorm watch. And LA is also under that as well. So winter storm warning for Yosemite National Park is a severe winter storm warning. And we can see all the rip currents on the coast from the storms offshore, flooding in Colorado, and serious flooding in Colorado. Oregon, up in the Upper Hood River Valley, you're going to have a freeze watch in effect for today and a freeze warning for tonight. So make sure to cover your outlets outside or turn them partially on. Winter storm warning in Yosemite Park. We talked about that. And then down in Owens Valley, which is in the Sierra Nevada, they're going to have a freeze warning in California. It's the first fall freeze for them. Is that blackberry? I don't know if they have that out west, but and then on the East Coast, well, still some problems along the coastline with some flood warnings. So please be weather aware. It's probably not a great time to go to the beach right now. Let's see. Anything else real quick here? I'm just scanning through. These storm warnings are all for the Pacific. And we really need to talk more about this. A lot of these storm warnings are from the islands up off of Alaska in the Bering Sea. They were hit by a typhoon yesterday, and they have had a loss of life, and all kinds of bad things happened during that typhoon. So we need to think about them. In Guam, there's a flood watch. There you go. Let's see. Make sure nothing new just popped up, and we will go to the next thing. I want to hopefully get to my new toy. I don't know. Hey, there we go. New test message from Maryland. I agree with you, Chris. I agree with you. I saw her yesterday in a Coast Guard uniform and was like, wow. All right. And I'm with you, Chris. I would guess that's some kind of military drone. I'm not sure what military is in that part of Virginia. I'm sure there's some, but I don't know what parts. Zooming in on the weather warning map, let's look out on California, and we see, well, that severe thunderstorm warning off of the coastline from LA down to, well, San Diego, Tijuana, really. That's coming inland. That's got some severe rain and electrical activity. That's making it to the Sierra Nevadas. When it hits the Sierra Nevadas, that's where it turns into the wintry mix. They have winter storm warnings in the higher elevations, so be weather aware there. Up along the entire West Coast, there's all kinds of storms and warnings. Let's go up here to Alaska and check them out, since they have been dealing with the typhoon, and they have had all kinds of storm warnings up here. The cyclonic activity is still off of the coast, the Bering Sea, and is coming in and is causing all kinds of issues. We'll check the temperature on that to see if that's severe thunderstorm or a winter thunderstorm, thunder snow. Hop over to the East Coast for our friends over there, and we see all the high surf, wind, and gale, small craft, rip currents from New England all the way down into, well, really down to the Chesapeake. So that storm is still centered offshore, but it is causing lots of flooding to come inland from the coastal Carolina area all the way up through the Chesapeake Bay, the Delmarva, and then once you get up to Long Island, and then further all points northeast on its way to get out to sea, hopefully passing Halifax, Nova Scotia later this week. But right now it's causing all kinds of havoc. And anywhere else is having any severe storms? Let's zoom in here. This is it's east of Santa Fe, west of Amarillo. That's a pretty good sized storm that's moving throughout, so be weather aware with it. And because yesterday, that is, well, just south of there is where all of the flooding was. So yeah. So pay attention, be weather aware. Let's jump out to our international version. We see everything we just talked about. In fact, that's a new earthquake, isn't it? It doesn't say. It doesn't give the. There it does. Mandatory evacuations are in effect. All right, so hold on a minute. Mandatory evacuations are in place for homes along the San Juan and Blanco rivers, and this is up in Montana. So that's started yesterday and will go through tonight until this evening. Mandatory evacuations. I don't know what's going on up there, but they might have had a levee or dam break. So we saw the warnings on the West Coast, winter warnings in the mountains, get the severe thunderstorms around the Four Corners. Down in Dallas, well, you've got some different problems. You have air quality issues. And jump down to Florida. As always, Florida, you've got some wind warnings. It doesn't look like there's any severe thunderstorms warnings, but those wind and high surf, rip currents, gale warnings go all the way up into the northeast. And when they get to the northeast, they turn into a winter storm when they go into the great states of Canada. Is it states? And Chris KG says, I just watched the video of the dog battery fire. Oh my God. Yes. The dog got lucky. The dog got very lucky. The family got lucky. I mean, first off, you worry about the puppy getting injured, but secondly, you worry about the home. But yeah, they got very lucky. And people just don't realize how bad that these batteries are. They're great, but they're so bad. And I mean, I've got one in my pocket right now, for a flashlight. Let's see. So this is in Australia, extreme fire weather warning for the Usla Fire District for 15 October. That is tomorrow for us. That is today for you. And we see along the coastline, well, strong wind advisories on the East Coast, Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne, and a warning to the sheep grazers, by the way, in Melbourne, in north, east, west, and south Gippsland, warning to the sheep. So be aware that the cold temperatures could upset the sheep. So you have a sheep warning there. I'm not making fun of you. I swear I'm not. But I had never heard of a sheep warning until I started covering weather in Australia. Let's see. It's 3:30. How are we doing? We're doing good. Let's look at the electrical activity. And as noted, the worst right now is in New Mexico. That storm we talked about, it is just northeast of Roswell, and it's packing a pretty good little punch as it's moving to the northeast. Up in Idaho, Rexburg, St. Anthony, that storm has a little bit of electrical activity to it. Colorado, you have a small storm. It's really not much of noting, but you do have a small storm in Almosa, so pay attention there. And off the East Coast, don't see any electrical activity except for the further reaches of where the storms are out to sea. Florida, you look pretty good. Let's hop down to our friends down under and see what the electrical activity looks like. Oh, they've got some pretty good storms up there in Queensland along the coastland. And in the Northern Territory, that's a little cell right there is packing a little punch. So if you're in those areas, be weather aware that the electrical activity is anywhere around there from the Queensland to the Northern Territory coastline, a little and slightly inland as well. Over in the Western Australia area, there's a small storm there, pretty much dead center of the country, just southeast of Port Hedland. So be weather aware there. Let's look and see if in the United States any of this has caused any power outages. And we see that California, Southern California, they have lots of people without power. Total in the state is 28,000. Texas, you have 11,870. Tennessee, that storm is going to try moving to the southeast later today, so it can anticipate more people without power. But it looks like it's in West Tennessee. West Virginia, you also have some power outages. That's probably from the rains causing trees to go down. Pennsylvania, you have lots of power outages, but most of them along the coastline. So 321 people without power. So there you go. In New York, you have 1,231 people. Did I say that? Colorado, 1994. Utah, 1325. And New Mexico, 1920. All people without power. Florida, you have 2,171. And Alabama, you have 1,600 people without power, almost 1,700. Currently, Lorenzo is still out there chugging along in the Atlantic, and it is expected to turn back to the east in a dramatic change Wednesday morning. It's going to be pushed by that low, so it's going to stay out to sea, and it doesn't appear that it's going to bother anyone. So that's good news if in the Atlantic. Take a good picture here of the Atlantic and see, it's still churning out there. We can still see the clouds offshore in the northeast there associated with that storm. Good Lord. There you go. Zoomed out version of it. You can see the clouds from Nova Scotia all the way down to, coastal Carolina, almost to the Georgia-Carolina line. So that's pretty good sized storm. And luckily there's no two eye walls as there was yesterday. So, and the Gulf of America doesn't appear that much is going on. So that's good news. And this is temperatures. I think this is just temperatures showing the temperature of the water. It's still pretty warm it looks like from Virginia Beach down. It's still pretty warm. It's cooling off though down closer to Jacksonville. So if you're going to go to the beach, hint, need to go soon. These are the Google AI versions of storms. And as you see there, Lorenzo is anticipated to continue to go out to the east, and then eventually it's going to turn back to the north and the south, but it's not going to do much. Here off of the coast of Mexico, they've also been experiencing some intense storms and flooding. That's what's pushing up the west coast. So keep your eyes on that. If you're in Mexico down there, you have lots of rain on your western coast, and then down just prior to South America. No tsunami warnings watches are in effect right now. And we look at temperatures right now, the hottest spot in the U.S. Well, I gotta change this back to Fahrenheit for us. So let's go down under first. So I'll change it back to Fahrenheit then, so I'll feel better about it. And it looks like in Australia right now, Darwin is your warmest. No, I'm sorry, Broome is 27. Darwin, you're at 26. Adelaide, you are at 6. And Sydney, you're currently at about 16. Brisbane, 17. And get to Cairns, 26. And let's see, 15 in Perth and 18 in Canberra. All right, we'll switch this to Fahrenheit because I freaked out when I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute, what is that? I wish it had an easier way of switching this where you could do it, on the fly. Okay. Let's be temperature, Fahrenheit. There we go. All right. So we'll look and see here in the lower 48, who is the warmest right now? And it looks like, well, Houston, you're coming in at 89. So you are the warmest in the country. You can see this cold weather is trying really hard. The cold air, I mean, we're talking up in Vancouver and Seattle, 55, all the way down. You get into Southern California. It's in Reno. That's Nevada, actually. Get down into, how about Fresno? It's 44 in Reno, 60 in Fresno. It's only 59 in San Francisco. So that cold is trying to push down, and it's going to try and make its way across to the East Coast. There's a little trough here that's associated along the west side of the Appalachia, but it's not really getting much down in South Cool. But from let's see, what is it up in Burlington right now? Burlington, well, you've got a high of 54 today. So jump down to New York City. Your high is only 59. And we'll compare that to Washington, D.C. They have a high of 64 today. Sunny, partly sunny skies. Get down to Knoxville, where it's starting to warm up again. 76 degrees. Get down to Atlanta, 81. And it's going to be sunny in the south. So now if you follow the Mississippi back from the west side on the west side, going north, St. Louis, you're going to get 84 today. That's going to be your high. So sunny skies. Wichita, you're going to have a high of 77 degrees with partly cloudy skies. And I think, let's see here. There's probably not much for a heat advisory out. Yeah, there really isn't. Maybe along the Gulf of America, it's code yellow. Going inland, following the Mississippi up to the north slightly. But most of the country today is not going to have much of a heat risk. So unless you're in the deep south, the airflow, and we see the dangerous air qualities. Well, Houston over to Orlando almost in the Gulf of America, and back up following the Mississippi all the way to the Great Lakes. St. Louis, you are the area with the worst air quality in the lower 48. And I'm assuming a lot of that into Texas is probably because of fires. And Canada up in Vancouver north, you have some code yellow air conditions. Look here, we're not getting a whole lot of updated with the fires because of the shutdown. And we do see there are some fires still being reported, and some have popped up. So I'm not really going to give them a lot of data because I don't know that the information is really up to date. But Texas has had some fires that's causing the smoke to pretty much cover the coastline of the Gulf of America and move inland, following the Mississippi, following those winds up into the northeast. And we look at yesterday, they said that Texas and Alabama, and they had the highest amount of fires. Alabama 74, Arizona 0. Okay, let's sort by. There we go. Louisiana, here we go. I was looking at that thinking that can't be right. Louisiana, 154 fires yesterday. Remember, this is not counting just brush fires. This is fires in general, large fires. Georgia, 151. Arkansas, 119. You drop down into the double digits, and you're looking at probably Tennessee 15, Kentucky 16. So I'm not 100% clear on this, even though they say they're updating it, how updated it really is. But there you go. So there's the fire activity for the last 24 hours. The South was the ones with the worst problem. Jump here at IQ Air. Why are you down there? Get up here. Why is it way down there? Should be, no. Here we go. Maybe that'll fix it. There we go. Worst city right now is Delhi in India. Pakistan, well, right behind that. Manila in the Philippines. These are all areas with bad air quality. Looking at the lower 48, we talk about that smoke that was coming out of Texas. That's what's causing it there. And let's look at the wind speeds up here on these storms in Alaska. Now we see, the West Coast is really getting a lashing from the storms all the way down in Tijuana to up to Vancouver. And then when you go look at Alaska, that typhoon is still spinning up there off of the island coastlines. We see there's not a lot of dust coming back from South America. With those warm temperatures, we need to be on the lookout. Hurricane season is not over as of yet. And we go down to Australia. In Australia, your air quality looks pretty decent today, with the exception of, where is that? It's in the northwest. So probably local fires, brush wildfires is probably the reason for that smoky conditions. So, all right. Well, we kind of looked at this. This is just the winds, the 3D version of the skies with the winds. And we see that storm still spinning. One has made it all the way up past Nova Scotia, going out towards Greenland, Iceland. That one is still sitting off the coast of Delmarva spinning. And of course, we talked about up in Alaska, that storm up there. We're going to skip ahead just a little bit. And the last earthquake was in Western Turkey, a 4.0. Look and see if any of these areas in our viewing areas, we'll hit them real quick. So I want to try and get to this new toy I downloaded. All right, so I'm not seeing much there. And we're going to skip that today. And see event list. We've talked about most of this being weather, where out in Asia, the typhoon there is causing all kinds of problems. Hopefully it's spinning back out to sea. So Hawaii, you've had problems with both drought and volcano. Of course, there is Humberto spinning out in the Atlantic. What do we have? 3 new notifications. Guam flash flood, high surf in the Outer Banks, which we talked about, and in Hatteras Island flooding. Jump down to Australia and see. Yeah, here's probably the wildfires that we were seeing the smoke from in Western Australia and in Northern Territory. Some fires that are causing some problems, and actually one in Queensland. So, all right, we'll skip that. All right, so we want to look at this first. This is our normal. We look at military planes. We look here at all the actual air traffic above us. We're going to filter it out, and it's all military at this point. And take a look at some of the things here. But I've got something new I've downloaded, and I wanted to compare it. But the main thing I wanted to look at was how the difference in the two. There we go. All right, so you see there the military version that the one has. You see that it obviously isn't showing all of the aircraft. It's pretty close. It's not showing all of the aircraft. But what I really wanted to get back up there, pay attention to, because on this one, you can turn it and you can show by zooming out the higher flyers that we haven't typically been able to see. And there's not really a reason for that other than that these aren't tracked. But like we zoom in on this one right here, it doesn't say what type of aircraft it is, but it's stationary. So it's sitting there at 90,000 feet. So if you look at that and you say, all right, well, this is at 90,000 feet. What's it doing up there? Well, just picture a ring around it. And at that altitude, it's a pretty large ring. Every time your phone goes off or you get data on your phone, if you're in the footprint, in other words, the listening area of that vessel, we'll call it, that's at 90,000 feet, it hears you. So that was what I wanted to give a lot of attention to. We see there's one right over pretty much the center of the country. There's one to the northeast, which would probably covering the Ohio Valley. We've got them out here on the west coast. There again, that one's at 83,000, and this one is at 80,000. So they're sitting up there. They're stationary. They're just kind of listening. They're not doing a whole lot. Now, this does have more military traffic. It's a lot more confusing to look at than the other, but you can zoom in and get better detail of the different types of craft. And you can see them from different angles. It's showing them by their altitude. Let's see if I can, bear with me. I'm still learning this. All right. So once again, we're looking from the south, looking to the deep north. And we see these really high flyers up here, 90,000 feet. Whatever that is, it's sitting still and it's just listening to everything that it can hear in its footprint. And at 90,000 feet, that's a pretty big footprint. I mean, it looks to be pretty much right over, oh man, Colorado. It's right pretty much dead center in the country. There's one off of the west coast. It's out to sea, but it's at 83,000 feet. So it's listening to something out there. Another one up here off of the coast of Alaska. It's at 80,000 feet. So there's something out there they're listening to. They don't tell you what. These things don't exist, but they're there. And you can track them. This comes to me from, it's called Sky Glass. I watch another show, and he is very intensive, and he knows this like the back of his hand and can zoom in on any of them, tell you exactly what it is, what it's doing. I just wanted to make us aware of these high flyers we've been missing because they don't show up, because the way this other site works, the ABS tracking, the way this works is these aircraft are talking electronically to air traffic control, and this is picking them up as they're moving. But the ones that aren't moving, well, they don't have to talk. They're just sitting up there at 90,000 feet, whether they're a drone or a balloon, and kind of listening. So they don't have to tell anyone or anything they're there, especially at that altitude. We're looking at near space. But yeah, so I'm still learning this one. Bear with me. If anybody wants to, as I learn this is a subscription-based service. You get even more information if it's a subscription-based service. If any of the listeners want to help out, I would gladly accept donations that would go just to this. It was see over here off of the coast of Europe, actually deep in the heart of Europe. There's several high flyers over there. We look at this one's at 62,000. That one's at 62,000. Let's go down. Look at it. There's almost four of them back to back at 62,000 elevation. So, and this one also, like I said, I got to learn how to use it, shows more of the areas of the world that don't necessarily, like this is a Turkey aircraft. We may not see that on that other one. So it's pretty interesting. Of course, you get over into Russia and Asia, you're probably not going to see or hear much, but there are a couple. That one there, well, that's a U.S. vessel, so of course it's talking. It's a Gulfstream, and that is also a U.S. vessel, so not much going on up there in the Alaska Peninsula, but when you come down into the lower 48, man, there's a lot of activity down here. But I was really impressed now that I figured out how to see the high flyers. I have to wait for it to draw again. How many there really were. Okay, why is it not showing now? It should be refreshing. Why is it not refreshing? There we go. Well, no. Like I said, I'm learning this one, so you'll have to bear with me. Because it takes a lot of room on the computer and a lot of memory. What is it doing there? Okay, so it's loading. It just takes a while for it to do. But like I said, the main thing I wanted to get out of this was the high flyers. I've hit a button now and it don't want to repopulate. I don't know why. Whoa, that's an interesting view. Can I not go? Yeah, I don't like this view. I like the other view better. Like I said, I'm learning this, so bear with me. We'll play with it. We'll go back to the other one for now until I get that figured out. We just got a few minutes left here, and we see lots of C-17s flying around, transports. You can see if there's any P-8s, possibly a P-8 going from the Seattle coastline straight down. That's interesting. Yep, there's two of them. So, all right, there's two P-8s off the west coast, and there is the E-3. Well, if you know anything about military, remember I said there was a high flyer over here. Well, this is a military ship that flies high too, but it is completely mobile and it picks up everything as it goes anywhere in a very large proximity of it. So they're listening to something out there for some reason, which is what our government does. Let's go over here and see if there's anything on the East Coast. And it's probably a cargo vessel coming back from overseas. That's a Canadian vessel, C-17. And a lot of these are just transports and trainers. Oh, there's a military E-2. See, there you go, right there. They're up here doing a little circle off of the coast of Virginia Beach down in Chesapeake Bay. They're listening to something out there. I'm not giving away any state secrets here, so don't anybody at me. This is all public domain knowledge and information. You can take it for what you want. I mean, obviously, this is a lot of training down in the Gulf of America. That's where they train most of our fighter pilots and our helicopter pilots. There's a lot of activity always in the Gulf of America. In fact, you see there's some T-38s there. Remember, I told you a few weeks ago they were using the T-38s to train as bad guys with the other guys to come look for them. So you start seeing those pop up, and a lot of that's probably fighter jet training. Of course, there's a big controversy now in the military about why do we need fighter jets when we have drones. So that's a big controversy happening right now. So all right. Well, I don't see much else going on. Lots of transports, lots of training. I don't see any refuelers. I don't see any special air missions. But there's more up there than that one shows. Oh, why it's not refreshing? It was doing so good. Then I hit a button. I don't know what the hell button I pushed. Don't hit it again, Glenn. Because it was really showing us some good data and information there. Once again, Skyglass, you could go check it out, and you can see all this for yourself. This is not top secret information. This is all public domain. All right. See, I've got to figure out how to work this, because you can see a lot of things with this that I just haven't learned how to use yet. So I will learn it. I will play with it and figure it out, and I'll get it so that when I share the information, you can see. But the main thing I wanted you to see was the high flyers and how much of the country they were covering. It was pretty impressive. Oh, load. Okay. I don't understand why it's no longer showing them. Is that showing them all over there on the west? What the heck? Okay, that was weird. All right, well, it's filtered some of them out. This is all helicopters, it appears. All right, don't filter, show them all. Well, whoa, I really crashed at that time. I don't even know what it did. All right, well, I'm gonna stop playing with this until I figure it out. But we got some data out of it, and as I learn it, I will share more. Spyglass, you can go download this. It's a Windows app, and of course, it's public domain, so you can check all of this stuff out for yourself. I've hit a button, and I don't know what I've hit. That's the problem. So until I figure out, yeah, I mean, you can even put in and search for specific ones, and this is pretty good. And oh wow, that's going to give us a whole lot of data. Okay, I'm going to stop playing. All right, it's almost time for us to get out of here. Anyhow, let's look real quick and see if there's anything else I missed. And I apologize once again. I'm currently on the right time today. So, we'll look at this real quick. All right, so we saw those were definitely all military. Look here at the civilian ones. So is this weather related? Is it amateur radio? There's still a lot of balloons up in the air. So even if they're not military, there's still lots of balloons in the air. So look at the marine traffic once again going down here to Venezuela. Well, it doesn't look like much going on because there's lots of traffic and commerce going on. We can see that lots of areas we're gonna start seeing when it goes into effect in November. We're gonna start seeing over here, if we go off the coast of China and Japan, we're gonna start seeing a lot of vessels parked, not moving. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Some of these are actually already parked. No, that one's underway. I wonder if it's the red ones that are parked. Nope, it's underway as well. But we'll start seeing a lot of parked vessels when the tariffs come up. So we'll be able to see that. And right now, all the commerce is moving, even the oil in the Middle East. So that's good. We'll go out of here with Bitdefender, as we always do. Remind you that red are attacks, yellow are infections, white is spam. It's probably not wanting to load because of that other program. More than likely, if I had to guess. Because that other one is a memory hog, the Spyglass that I'm learning. So, all right, there we go. I closed some windows and got it back under control. All right, well, I will be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 2 o'clock a.m. in Australia. I'll be on Dare Talk Radio and Radio X. And of course, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I have my Paranormal guys. We have 2 more authors scheduled. One is a science fiction author that has got a series out about a space officer that, well, he gets into a little trouble and his career is almost shot until they send him on a rogue mission. And then the second author, well, he's also a science fiction fantasy author. His is set more into the Viking era. So we'll have him on at 9 o'clock. And then we will continue on this week every day, 2 until 4, with the Sportcat Daily Gazette. All right, everybody, if you have any questions, you can at me on Twitter or X at Sportcat, or you can shoot me an email at sportcat@protonmail.com. Or go to SpeakPipe and send me a message, speakpipe.com/Sportcat. You can catch me over there. And if you got anything, just shoot it to me. I'll be more than glad to hear it. And of course, I'm available Tuesday and Thursdays, noon till 2 on the Thin Line Rock Station, spinning records, playing some tunes. Everybody have a great afternoon. I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same location. The correct time today or tomorrow. Everybody have a great day.